is the greatest risk to the tech industry's reputation? Well, that's a question a team of experts seek to answer in a quarterly report called the Reputation Risk Index. The Global Situation Room analyzes the greatest threats facing companies and organizations at a time when everything from AI to social media and politics pose increasingly complex challenges to one another. Let's bring in Brett Bruen, the president of the Global Situation Room, and Isabel Guzman, the chair of the Global Risk Advisory Council and the authors behind the Reputation Risk Index. Thanks so much for being with us.
It's our pleasure.
Okay, so what did you find were the top risks when it comes to the reputation of these different tech companies?
Yes, well, I think across the board, companies are looking now at reputational risks, risks to their brand, their leadership, as well as the organization. And the top issues right now are being called out singularly by the president can have a huge impact on your bottom line, as well as, of course, on an ongoing basis, for technology, the AI and the use of AI. But there are multiple risks that companies need to take into consideration around fraud, around disinformation, their control of their data that is ongoing.
Yeah, and I think that complexity that Isabel references is the real challenge for CEOs right now, because it starts with them. We've seen with Astronomer the example of CEOs' behavior, the behavior of other executives, but then all the way up to, and what's fascinating right now, we had Trump 1.0, but Trump 2.0 is a lot more exposure, and we're seeing how MAGA influencers on social media are talking about John's Barbecue, who wanted to do a Hispanic Heritage Month discount, and that gets called out and then spirals up into a social media storm, and sometimes even finds its way onto the Resolute desk in the Oval Office.
Yeah, I want to dig a little deeper into that, because we've seen just one social media post by the president can impact a company's stock price. So are we seeing companies really change the way they communicate their mission to customers and their shareholders, and because of what the president might say about it?
Well, I think a lot of them, quite frankly, have been in a wait-and-see mode, and that was the first 9 months of trying to weather the storm. But now you can't spend the next 4 years hiding under your boardroom table. You got to get out, you got to engage, and that's where I think we're starting to see companies figure out the right strategy to do that.
When to take an appropriate amount of risk, you mean?
Yeah.
And you see companies rewarded for understanding their true heritage, what their vision is, what their mission is, and really what their brand and image wants, what they want it to be. And so I think companies really have to take that exercise seriously about really staying true to their core values in the marketplace today.
I want to talk a little bit about AI, because we've seen these AI companies just grow exponentially over the past week. I mean, specifically with OpenAI. Is there a risk, though, by some of these companies growing so big, so quickly, that there's a risk to their reputation if they get too big too fast?
And we saw this at the beginning of the year when AI was the top reputational risk. What ended up happening was a lot of companies rushed in, said, I can save money, I can do things faster, but am I losing confidence amongst consumers? That was a question many of them weren't asking. And then obviously there are stakeholder issues as well as regulatory ones. And now that you've seen the Trump administration say it's sort of a laissez-faire Wild West in AI, okay, I can do it, but should I do it? And that's the real question, I think, weighing over a lot of companies right now.
Yeah, we want our companies to take leadership in this field. It's a global race to lead on AI. But I think the deployment of AI by all companies of all sizes, small or large, is really what we're focusing on in the reputational risks, because disinformation and the speed at which deep fakes or IP infringement or any of these other issues come to bear on your firm, that's where the risk is.
The stakes are higher and things go wrong. They can go really wrong. But I'm curious what you think, though, about there is sort of this culture dynamic of the tech industry that you go in, you break things, and then you kind of figure it out later, and that's worked for a lot of big companies. So is that changing based on your analysis?
I think that you're seeing consumers really be circumspect about AI. They want to make sure it's not discriminatory. They want to make sure that they don't lose that trust and relationship and strong customer service. And so I think that that's what's making people slow down, and just making sure that as they deploy AI, that they're staying true to their customers, their marketplace.
So it sounds like, though, the business environment, because of AI, and you have to be more cautious, that's changing.
I believe so, for sure.
And a good example of this, which we're all familiar with, is how banks went from that storefront and the teller that you were engaging with. Now I can do almost anything on an app. And yet, as a business journalist commented to us when we were reviewing the report, she said, you know, I love my banking app when I can deposit a check in 30 seconds. I hate my banking app when something goes wrong and I can't get in touch with someone. And that's sort of the cautionary tale. Yes, you know, look for efficiencies, but how do I inject that human touch and that human element, especially when things start squeaking and your customers are going to want to actually engage with a human?
Yeah, sometimes you just want to talk to a human being when something goes wrong and you keep getting those answering services. We've all got them.
And sometimes humans have to be the ones for the final check. I mean, there's a recent case of a large consulting company who put out a report filled with errors and got, you know, into trouble for that. You have to have a human review as well. It can't just be AI generated.
There you go. All right, Isabel Guzman and Brett Bruen, thank you so much for being with us. Fascinating report.
Thank you.
Thank you.